I'll do a garden walk by and then we'll talk about some stuff in more detail. As you can see, everything's growing like crazy. It's getting harder to walk through the garden. That's what 10-foot corn looks like. Sunflowers, a couple of them are close to 10 feet too, and they're starting to lean over. As you can see, everything's really growing well. The banana tree is gaining some size. We're down on this end, so we'll just talk about pumpkins and squash first. We've got several pumpkins that have set on Dickinson pumpkin. I'll show you the biggest one. Right down here. It's got decent size. They can start growing pretty quickly once they get going. And this one over here, it's got some that are probably about ready to harvest for summer squash. The cool thing about this squash is it can be used for a summer squash or a winter squash. You just harvest it young for summer squash and let it mature for winter squash. We might as well talk about some peppers now. In case you're wondering about the basket, I just cut a hole in the bottom of that. I have a petunia growing in it. It looks pretty cool once it matures. I did it last year, so I thought I might as well try it again this year. This is a Savory, and it's starting to get little peppers on it. And right next to it is the Trinidad Perfume, and it's also getting little peppers on it. Brazilian Starfish and the ahi peppers are just getting started with blooms, so they'll be getting some peppers very soon, but they don't have any right now. And then this was supposed to be a Carolina Reaper, but I don't think it is. Got the seeds from a friend. But to me, it doesn't look like a Carolina Reaper. This is Chocolate Bootla, and it doesn't have any peppers. This is Sugar Rush Peach. It's well over knee high, and it's doing better than any pepper I've got. It's got tons of blooms at the top, and then down at the bottom there are quite a few peppers in there. I'm not sure how well you can see them, but got some good sized peppers, and we'll get to sample that very soon probably. The yellow bean pepper is farther behind than any pepper I have. I'm just hoping I get to sample that one. That is a white tie, and that's a habanada. No peppers yet on those. Big Bang Space chili pepper, no peppers yet on it. Then we have the hybrid peppers. You can probably see some of the peppers down there. But there are peppers on each one of those, and some of them got quite a few peppers. So as far as production, they're doing pretty well. And there's a lot of variety. This is a F2 generation. This one is producing green peppers. This one starts out yellow, then they turn purplish, much like an Oda, which is what one of the parents is. Then this one starts out yellow and stays yellow. This one starts out yellowish and gets kind of a blush, but not fully colored. This one gets pretty dark, kind of like the F1 generation, and these also stay yellow. And this one, I'm wondering what happened here. It looks like it's been attacked by bugs. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, it's got peppers that look much like the F1 generation. This one starts out green and gets some color on it. Then this one also looks very much like the F1 hybrid. And here's another one that stays yellow. So there's a lot of variability, and out of the 10 plants here, I have one that is close to what I'm looking for. Looking for the oda coloration and a mild heat. I haven't tried one yet, so I don't know if it's mild or really hot, but we'll find out. Then we have Trinidad Scorpion, growing very well. It's got little peppers on it. Santa Fe Grande, lots of little peppers. Poblano, quite a few little peppers at the bottom. There's that Big Daddy, it's starting to grow back. I broke it off accidentally. Shishito, got a couple of little peppers on it. So it's gonna do pretty well in time, I think. Before we go to the ornamental peppers, I have another hybrid that was an accident. The seeds for this one came from a black pearl, and as you can see, the peppers look nothing like a black pearl. Thought that was kind of interesting. Midnight Fire Ornamental. There's Conga. This is New Mex Easter. It's really got some pretty peppers on it. They start out with kind of a white color with some lavender, and I'm not sure what it'll go to next. This Medusa, it's got quite a few peppers on it, but when they start to get some size, it'll look a lot cooler than it does now. Purple Flash really looks cool. I like it a lot. Here's a closer look at the foliage. The poinsettia pepper, no blooms, no peppers. I'm a little disappointed in that one. And the explosive ember, it's starting to get blooms now, and it's got a few small peppers, not many, but it'll be covered soon. There's the peppers in the grow bag. 4 different peppers. And we have some more peppers. These were planted from black pearl seeds. These two look more compact. This one's growing tall, so I'm wondering if those aren't. At least that one might be a hybrid. Then the Hot Pops Purple. It's a cool looking little pepper. Anybody who watches my channel very much knows that I love oda peppers, and they're doing great, as they usually do in our garden. Haven't harvested any yet, but that'll be very soon. It's been real busy. Haven't had time to cook. Here's some albino bullnose. They're very, very prolific pepper too. I need to pick some of those. For some reason this one is producing a lot more than this one. There's that Hungarian sweet pepper, but that's a look at all of our peppers. We'll look at some of this stuff down here before the sun gets too high and ruins our video. But some of the sunflowers down on that end are getting close to 10 feet tall. The tallest one's a Titan. Then we have some Mongolian giants next to those. Then the Mexican sunflowers are starting to bloom. I'm really impressed with the way they look. Then we have those 2 sunflowers down here that are leaning now. That one was probably about 10 feet. The other one was getting up there, and that last good rain we had kind of loosened the soil and caused them to lean a little bit. Then we've got the banana tree, and it's growing pretty well. And it's going to be up there before the season is over. Musa Bastiu there, and the Musa Velutina there. Then we have some ground cherries that came up by themselves. Everything in the grow bag's doing pretty well. This is a mixed bag of sweet potatoes, and recently I trimmed those back so that they weren't smothering the ping tongue eggplant in this grow bag. But it's starting to get blooms and it'll be producing eggplant soon. I did the same over here. I had to trim these red garnet sweet potatoes. Then the corn. It's crazy how tall that corn is. The tallest ones, I know they're over 10 feet tall, and most of them are close to 9 feet or more on this first row, and back in the second row it's the same way down. All the hybrid corn is very tall, I'll put it that way. And then I've cut the tops off the glass gem corn so they wouldn't cross pollinate the hybrid corn. Then we have the ornamental corn here that's going to be very late, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty tall. It's going to have to be to get to some sunlight. Then we have that open space where I had the Desi squash. Cucumbers, I haven't really got into there. I know I've got some smaller cucumbers, but cucumbers have a tendency to get big in a hurry, so I'll be looking that over today. Sweet potatoes along the edge of the garden are really sprawling out in all directions. Let's get in here and look at these eggplants. This is a Matoyo. They're starting to get blooms on them now, so I'm guessing we might have a few little eggplants to show you next update. This is a Rosita. It's getting pretty tall. Those are Rositas down there too. Well, looks like we had a bloom fall off over there, but it's got lots of blooms on it, so we'll have eggplants to show there soon. Here's a look at the Tasmanian chocolate. It's covered with tomatoes. One of the parents that's responsible for producing this tomato is Paul Robeson, which tastes very good, so I'm hoping this will be a good tasting tomato because it's loaded with tomatoes. The Dwarf Jade Beauty is a green type of tomato, and it's got a decent number of tomatoes on it. It's hard to see, but there are even a couple up towards the top, which is good. Then we have Serendipity. It's got, this one's in a container, and we have some right next to it in the straw bales, and they're doing great. Then right next to those is a container with pink passion and 2 pink passions in a straw bale. And as you can see, the pink passions are very productive. And let's just go over there and show you the size of one of them. I'll just throw my hand in there for size reference. But they're a decent sized tomato, and there's lots of them. And here's a quick look at the Topsy-turvy tomato tree. It's still doing pretty well. I really have to stay on top of watering on this thing though, because it takes a lot of water compared to everything else. I have to water it twice a day, morning and evening, unless rain helps me out. Here's the 3945. It's got some decent sized tomatoes, and Ruby's German green, and the Belgium giant. Then over there we have Boxcar Willie and White Tomaso. I haven't mentioned the Yacon in a while, but it's still doing great back there. The pole beans are getting quite a few blooms on them, so I'm expecting them to produce quite a few beans in time. I was just taking a look at the ping tongue eggplants, and we have our first little fruit on there. That's a look at how our garden's doing. Please let us know how your garden's doing, and if you're just now finding this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Otherwise, like, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.